The new warning to Americans after the drone strike that killed the leader of al-Qaeda. As we learn new details about it this morning, our chief White House correspondent Cecilia Vega has that.
This morning, an urgent warning to Americans around the world. The State Department saying it is concerned about the threat of terrorist attacks carried out in retaliation for the death of Ayman al-Zawahiri. The bulletin warning of a higher potential for anti-American violence, saying U.S. citizens overseas could be at risk of assassinations, kidnappings, hijackings, and bombings. This as new details emerge about the final moments for the world's most wanted terrorist. Al-Zawahiri believed to have met his end in this apartment. Satellite images showing the building in a crowded upscale Kabul neighborhood. And this photo circulating online showing the aftermath, the blown out windows of that apartment where the White House says al-Zawahiri was killed while standing on the balcony, struck down by U.S. Hellfire missiles. Those missiles, likely flying Ginzus, called that because they launched 6 long blades to kill a human target while sparing those standing just feet away. Experts praising the precision strike.
No one else has this capacity to pinpoint a target like this, not only in terms of location, but in terms of time, based on the intelligence, and then strike from afar.
President Biden seen in this White House photo being briefed on July 1st. Inside that box on the table, a model of the safe house. But now the administration facing new questions about whether pulling American troops from Afghanistan last year created a safe haven for terrorists. Now, this new alert for Americans abroad says that they should check with the State Department for travel advisories and updates. But officials are not saying whether a new threat prompted this new warning. But they do maintain, George, that America is safer because of this takedown. Okay, Cecilia Vega, thanks very much. Let's bring in the President's National Security spokesman, John Kirby. John, thanks for joining us again this morning. That State Department warning is pretty dire. How much greater risk are Americans abroad facing right now?
Well, it's a prudent step for the State Department, George, to issue that. It's not uncommon for us to do that after a major strike like this and the takedown of a major terrorist figure. It's the right thing to do to just make sure that that when Americans travel, they do so with their head on a swivel. But there's no specific threat that we're tracking right now, no specific stream of information that leads us to believe that there is a terrorist attack imminent as a result, as a retribution, if you will, for the killing of Zawahiri. But it's the right thing to do. What more is the United States going to do to hold the Taliban accountable for harboring al-Qaeda? Well, the strike itself is a measure of accountability, George. I mean, not only would we hold al-Qaeda accountable and Mr. Zawahiri, but it would send a very clear message to the Taliban that we know what they were doing. And that we were prepared to take action, and we will be prepared to take action going forward. Now, I'm not going to telegraph any decisions or policies or initiatives that might come as a result of this. Believe me, we believe the Taliban got the message. We're not going to tolerate them violating the Doha Agreement. And look, this is a group that wants to be considered legitimate governors. They want to open up to the international community. They want financing. They want legitimacy. You can't have all that if you're going to violate the Doha Agreement and you're going to harbor terrorists that plan to attack the American homeland. Let's talk about Speaker Pelosi's trip to Taiwan. She's left now. We saw those comments from the Chinese saying the United States is playing with fire and the U.S. has to pull back from the brink. Are the U.S. and China on the brink? No. I don't believe so. Not at all. Look, we knew that the Chinese were going to react this way. We could see it in the rhetoric leading up to the visit. And frankly, we've seen them do some exercises. We've done some flying along the median line of the Taiwan Strait. All this is of a playbook. It's exactly what we expected them to do, which is why we talked about it a few days ago. And we would expect, George, that in coming hours and maybe even days, there'll be additional Chinese actions meant to flex their muscles. We're just going to have to see what happens and where this goes. But there's no reason. We don't believe we're at the brink now, and there's certainly no reason for anybody to be talking about being at the brink going forward. Nothing about the Speaker's trip was inconsistent with American policy. Not a thing. We are seeing those actions already, including those live-fire military drills. How concerned are you about that? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you on that one. I was going to say, I was going to give you a lot of credit for being so coherent with that street cleaner behind you. That is really something. It just got a little closer to me, so I lost you on that last one. So my question was about the Chinese military drills. How concerned are you about them? We're watching them closely, George, but again, they are of a piece of what we expected them to do. So we're watching it closely. We obviously don't want to see any of this escalate. We do expect, George, that in the next days or so that there will be additional drills, and so we'll watch them again and we'll monitor as best we can.
I gotta say, that sounds like an alert. I'm gonna let you go right now. Thanks very much.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.